Well, hello, everybody. I thought she was going to open up, and I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. But we are here live right here in the studio. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. And it's another day in the day that we had and the Lord has given us.
Yeah.
And we're so glad y'all here with us on Tuesday Talk, where our thoughts are spoken. And we also open the floor and the platform for you to share your thoughts and your questions with us. So we are watching the chats on Facebook and YouTube. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube, on YouTube in two different places. So if you are watching us on YouTube, let us know you're there. If you're watching on Facebook, let us know you're there. And speaking of Facebook, if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can follow us on ANK Ministries on Facebook. And also on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, Tuesday Talk with Anthony and Keona. And we want y'all to like the post and share, because we talk about some great things here. I know it's things that excites me and it's things that's helping me. And I'm sure what we talk about here will help you, your friends, and anybody else that's connected with you. Everybody, some people think they have it together, but we all have areas to grow. And in order for us to grow, we must know. And so we want to give you information so that it's going to help you to know where you can grow. So go ahead and like and share. And we're going to go ahead and get started in the conversation. But before we get started in the conversation, I do want to take this moment and we are going to actually dedicate this show to a great woman that we adore and that we admire, and that's in the person of Evangelist Betty Thomas. Evangelist Betty Thomas is a spiritual mother to us, and she's been a mentor along with her husband that is already transitioned on a few years ago. But Evangelist Betty Thomas transitioned a few days ago, and we want to take the time and dedicate the show to her and to her family, and in memory of her life and her legacy, because she's definitely left a legacy, and she's a mother, spiritual mother to many, and a mentor to many. And I'm talking about this younger generation. So it is possible to reach this younger generation, because this lady and her husband was the epitome of a couple that loved God and loved people. I'm telling you that was just their life, and we appreciate their life and their legacy that they have left abroad. You never know who you really touch, and that's why we just live our life according to the way God desires for us to live it. And I must say, this lady and her husband has had a great impact on our life.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we are going to dedicate this Tuesday Talk to her. We are grateful for everybody that's joining us live. Comment, and we can see your comments.
So
let us know you're here. And also, God laid on our heart, actually, the beginning of this year, we like to acknowledge the people of God. And I believe that when you give honor to where honor is due, God honors you. And I believe that that giving honor to your peers and people that are connected with you and just acknowledging them is a great deal. And God actually laid on our heart the beginning of this year, and we actually gave out our first one this year. But God laid this on our heart this year to institute an award or to acknowledge the faithfulness of the servants, the men and women of God that serve God and not only serve God within, but they serve God in reaching out and touching others. And so our ministry instituted this award, and we actually gave our first one out this beginning of this year. And I'm not sure if we're going to do one a year or maybe two a year. I'm not sure, but at first it was the Henry L. Thomas Jr. Award, but we've changed that and it's officially instituted as the Henry L. and Betty Thomas Jr. Award for Resilience and Commitment. We believe that this couple is a great example of ones that endures, and they have resilience and they have commitment because they're the same all the time. You know, they're always up, and if they were down, you would never know they were down. And I just appreciate their life and their legacy. And you know, we just want to be a little small part of keeping their legacy alive, because we know how much they've impacted our life, and we desire to do the same, to impact other people's lives. So that's why we take the time to come on this live every Tuesday and to share with you things that's going to help you to advance in life, in your thinking, and in your relationship with God. So we just wanted to share that with y'all tonight, and just stay tuned on some great things that are coming up. But again, we thank y'all for joining us tonight, and let's go ahead and get in the talk. This talk we are talking about is, of course, continuation, because we didn't finish the last talk or the talk before that. So we're just going to continue. We're definitely going to finish this talk today, but we're going to get right into it. But first, I want to remind you that what we're talking about, biological psychology. Biological psychology basically concentrates on the relationship between biology and behavior. So biology and behavior, and that's basically what suggests of what we're talking about. So we're going to be talking about different behaviors or emotions, however you want to describe it. I think emotions is the best way to describe it, because emotions is basically energy in motion. Just energy and motion. Everybody has emotions, because all of us, we have energy. But the question is, where do you get your energy from? Where's your energy being derived from? Like, obviously, scientifically, we know it's derived from our psyche, our mind, or our soul, which embodies our emotions and our thoughts and our dreams and our past and our nightmares. All this stuff is embodied in our soul or our mind or our psyche. And those things we have to address. And if you don't address it, it'll start dressing you. And you don't want your thoughts or your nightmares and different things that are coming against your mind or your soul to start dressing you. That's why we have to address it and not allow it to dress you, because it will cause your behaviors to respond to what is being fed from your soul. So let's get right into it. So let's continue. We're going to go to this chart. We talked about joy. You can go back to 2 weeks ago. We talked about trust, fear. I think all of that was 2 weeks ago. We talked about surprise, sadness, disgust. And that was last week. And this week, or today, We're going to talk about anger and anticipation, and I think we're going to switch that up. We're going to talk about anticipation first, and again, this is basically an emotion. These are different emotions that we all have. Some people may say, I don't feel happy. I never feel happy, and my life is not a happy place to be in, but that emotion is there. You just have to access that emotion and allow that emotion to come alive in you. It's easy for us to allow fear to arise or anger to arise. It's real easy, but it seems to be challenging for us to have the emotion of trust, the emotion of joy, and the other emotions that will enhance you or that connects you and that causes your relationships to thrive and not die. So let's talk about anticipation. I guess Keona don't have anything to say, but let's talk about anticipation. So anticipation is basically, I want to give you the exact definition of anticipation. I don't want to. I'll give you my definition of it, or what I feel anticipation is. But the actual dictionary.com actually says anticipation. One thing, I don't understand why they have the word in the definition. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm going to read it anyway. The action of anticipating something, expectation, or prediction. So I'm going to go with the last two words, expectation or prediction. You have an emotion of anticipation. We all have an emotion of anticipation, especially say if someone has promised you something, or say if Christmas is coming around, kids, they just have this anticipation or expectation that they're going to get something. I'm going to go, no, I'm not going to say from Santa Claus, because, our son, he'll tell you, hey, Santa Claus is not real. Okay, well, I'm not going to argue against you because now I don't have to convince you that you're telling the truth, because you already know the truth. So expectation and prediction. So you don't even have to have something in your possession, but you still have that emotion of anticipation because there is a memory or there is a connection that you have to that day, that moment, that holiday, or that event. You have a connection with it already, that you already know what to expect. So you go with and that emotion of anticipation. And some of us are really driven by that. We won't respond, we won't go if we don't know what to anticipate, because we're not that person, as we talked about last week. We don't like surprises. So when I get there, I want to know what I'm going to get or what to expect, and so you have that you want to have that feeling of anticipation. It's not a negative thing, or I won't even say it's a positive thing, because you can have anticipation for something that is not good for you, but yet you still know that it can hurt you, and that's why you won't go. Okay, you'll see say a snake. We're in this season. They're saying snakes are this their season to show their head. So if you see a snake, you don't care if it's poisonous or not. You already know that this snake can bite, or it's a possibility that it can harm you. So when you see it, you already anticipate that this thing is going to hurt you, and that's when fear arises. So there has to be anticipation before an emotion of joy comes, or an emotion of fear comes. You have to have that feeling of anticipation before that comes, because you have to know something actually before it actually takes place. So you have a prediction, or you have an expectation. You don't know what to expect, or really you don't know what really to predict if you have no clue what you're about to approach or what something is. Once you know that, then you know that something is nothing gonna come good out of me approaching this snake. So I'm gonna go the other way and allow that snake to go whichever way it want to go. So basically, that anticipation takes over, and it may not always be right, because for one, the snake is more scared of you than you are. But because of what you've seen on TV, what you've heard about, there's more people that get bit by dogs than they get bit by snakes. So that anticipation of what this snake can do to you could hinder you really from going to where you're trying to get to. You'll rather go take the 3 mile way than rather the 1 mile way, all because that one snake is sitting there. So
I know a lot of times with anticipation, for me, anticipation is one of those things that triggers another emotion. Usually triggers another emotion because it's either, like you said, it could be positive, it could be negative, because if you're anticipating that you're going to get the promotion, or if you're anticipating that a death is about to happen, either way you put it, it triggers another emotion. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times that's something that we have to also look at, is that sometimes emotions don't operate by themselves. They're not by themselves. They a lot of times are there's one and then there's another, and then the other also may trigger another. So now you have multiple emotions of going on, all these multiple emotions going on, which now kind of creates almost like anxiety. Mm-hmm. It almost creates anxiety in the person. So that's something that I kind of looked at even when we're talking about anticipation, because we anticipate things that we can see. We anticipate things that we can't see. We anticipate things that have not happened yet. We anticipate things that have already happened and we want them to happen again. Anticipation is kind of one of those things that honestly, I think we, on a day-to-day basis, we kind of anticipate this. We anticipate that it's going to be hot. That the sun's going to shine, it's going to be hot. We anticipate that when we look at our phones or Alexa or whatever, and it says that the weather is 40 degrees, we anticipate that we're going to go outside and it's going to be cold. So anticipation is one of those things that honestly, it's something that kind of just comes naturally to us, because it's kind of like we already perceive what's going to take place. We already see it before it's even gotten to us. So anticipation, honestly, if you really pay attention to your everyday life, we are in anticipation every day. It's not that we're not like, for lack of a better word, we're not overzealous for something, or we're not like impatiently wanting something. But anticipation can be something that you wait for patiently. Mm-hmm. It can also be something that you wait for patiently. It doesn't have to be something that you're like, oh, I can't wait till I get here. It can just be, well, I anticipate that's going to happen, but when it happens, it's just going to happen, because it might not be time. So that's kind of just something what I saw when it comes to anticipation, because then it all comes back to, are you a reactor or are you a responder? When it comes to anticipating on things, because that influences how you approach the receiving of whatever you're anticipating.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anticipation is a big part of your life, and you may have never even thought of it, and that's the power of an emotion. Emotion can have, it can possess you and you not even know it, because it's a part of your being. And God gave you these emotions to help you to live, and to help you to judge your life, and help you to navigate on this earth. You need these emotions, and anticipation is a great emotion that we all use every day of our life. Honestly, every day of our life, we have that emotion of anticipation. And if you don't, then I don't think you have much of a life if you don't have anticipation. We want you to get in on the conversation. It's not going to be long today, but our conversation is what's in your head. Understand what's in your head, because even the scriptures talk about our head, what's in our mind and in our soul, talks a lot about that. And you can go to our past talks and get all that information. As far as how all of this aligns and from a scientific standpoint and to a spiritual standpoint, all of that, it all comes together as one. So go back in our past, in our archives. You can go on our YouTube, on YouTube, Tuesday Talk with Anthony and Keona. And you can go, of course, I believe it saves it on Facebook as well. You can go and find it on there as well. So we try to keep all our shows up so you can have access to them and that you can go back and watch them. So this emotion of anticipation is real crucial. Now to the next and our last emotion in this sector of talking about our biological psychology or bio psychology. We want to talk about anger. We want to talk about anger. Now, I know that a lot of us have experienced this emotion, knowingly and unknowingly. We've experienced this emotion because this emotion is triggered quite often and in all of us, honestly. There's some people that are masters at handling their anger, and I say handling their anger because we all possess this emotion. We all possess this emotion, and the reason why I know we possess this emotion is because the Bible says that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry, but it says not to sin. What does that mean, not to sin? Well, when we talk about sin, sin is doing what contradicts God. It's contrary to what God has purpose for us to do in our life. So he obviously gave us this emotion for a reason. Get angry, but don't sin. Don't let it control you. And most of the time when you sin, you're allowing an outside force or you're allowing your emotions to have control over you. God has given you dominion, not over this, just over this earth, but he's given you dominion over yourself. Giving you dominion over yourself. And when you have dominion over yourself, then you can allow the Holy Spirit to come in and help you to walk in the Spirit so you won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. And that's the power in us living our life whole, knowing that we are controlled by our mind, our psyche, or our soul. We're controlled by that. This is where we possess a lot of our life history, our life presently, and our life future. I was gonna say futurally. I don't know if that's a word. I don't know if that's a word or not, but all of that is in your soul. This is how God knew you while you were on, or he ordained you, or knew you while you were in your mother's womb, because even as a baby, you had a soul. You had a soul. God placed the soul inside of you. And that's how he knew you, because he identified you by placing this soul inside of you that he had formed you to be. He placed it inside of you. So those he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed into the image of his son, that you might be the firstborn among many brethren. And because you are chosen, he said, those he called, he also justified. Those he justified, he also glorified. Your life has already been set up. All you have to do is receive the gift of the Holy Spirit, receive the gift of life that God has already given you to walk in the fullness of life and in the stability of life. Because some of us walking in our fullness, but we ain't stable in it. It's like we're wibby wobbly. We're wobbling in and out of it. And because we don't have stability in our life, because we don't have the understanding about our life, how your life is, it has been formed, and how your life is in God's hands. Like, that's how all things gonna work together for your good. Bad and good, it's gonna work together for your good, because he has already set purpose in your life, even while you were in your mother's womb.
Yep. Because even when you're talking about the scripture where it says about be angry but don't sin, but then if you also, if you keep reading, it says don't let the sun go down while you're still angry, about not letting the sun go down on your wrath. You can't. It's okay for it to be a moment. It's okay, but how you come out of it is really what God is trying to get you to, because it shows a level of submission, it shows a level of self-control when you can say, okay, I'm not going to react to what just took place or the emotion that's going on with me. I'm actually going to step back for a second, reevaluate what's going on, and reduce myself so that I can extinguish the reaction that I was going to give if I didn't think about it. Because it's so easy. It's so easy, especially when you get anger. Anger is like a short fuse. Or should I say it can be. It can be like a short fuse. It's almost like, the majority of us are our favorite things, as far as like 4th of July and getting fireworks and things of that nature. Everybody wants to get firecrackers. They're quick, straight to the point. You light a short fuse and you've only got a matter of seconds, so actually like half a second, to toss it out before it explodes. That literally is almost what anger is like inside of us. It only has a short fuse, and what we do with it really matters, because we could either keep it, we can obtain it and put it out, or we can toss it and let somebody else get burned by what we just produced. And a lot of times that's what we do. We just toss it out and let other people get burned by what we produce, and don't care about the consequences a lot of times, or we think about the consequences too late after we've already reacted to the situation. So here it is. We have, someone that is responded in anger, put the words out there, and put words out there. And like my husband said, people say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. Words stick. The sticks and stones gonna hit you and fall off. But when people toss words at you that they have had in their heart that are fueled by anger, there's a lot that happens with that. There's a lot that happens to a person when that takes place. So it's very important for us to kind of to get ourselves to a place to where we can allow God to be able to even as a beginner in Christ, you can always say, look, God, I need you to help me to bring under subjection or basically take out the fuse of this anger thing, because I don't want it to get me put somewhere in my mental capacity that I can't come out of without a consequence, so to speak. So it's just important that we pay attention to that, because anger is one of those things that, man, once it's lit, it's lit.
And a lot of people are in trouble because of this emotion. A lot of people are even laying in the grave because of this emotion. A lot of people are actually, walking in hate towards someone else because of this emotion. This emotion can be very, very dangerous. Very dangerous, because it will cause your behaviors. And again, that's what we're talking about, your emotions being exemplified in your behaviors, basically. It's exposed through your behaviors. And that's why a lot of people watch your behaviors, and that really tells them who you are, honestly. So how you behave, how you respond, you don't even have to open your mouth, but they can see your gestures. And a lot of times that can reveal to them who you are. Now, I would not conclude or jump to any conclusion on someone's behavior, ignoring them for a few days or even for a week. Yeah, I just wouldn't do that. But someone would have to constantly show me or consistently show me that same behavior for me to conclude, okay, you have a problem. This is an issue because I've given you time to show me something different. You haven't shown me anything different. So this is who you are, because this is who you're showing me. So this emotion of anger can get in the way of your success. It can get in the way of you moving forward. And I'm talking about in relationally, in the marketplace, even in church. This emotion can close a lot of doors because a lot of people know that when you get angry, you're not gonna make the best decisions. It's not no telling what is gonna happen. If I get angry, because we've all have experienced that emotion, so we know that our main focus is not to get angry. So when we come in contact with someone that's angry, we try to avoid them, because we know that nothing good is going to come out of being around an angry person. It's so crazy, because I've seen people that act really irate and they act out of control, but they'll tell you, I'm not angry. And in actuality, they are angry. They just have practiced it so much that you do it so naturally that you don't even realize that this emotion has become you. It's taken root of your heart. It's taken root of your heart and it's become you. And now everything you do is motivated off of that emotion of anger, because you won't feel like you yourself unless you're angry. And that's a bad place to be. That person is a person that needs to get help. Because now you have a psychological problem. You have a psychological problem. And a lot of us, we feel like I got control of myself. I got me. But in actuality, you don't. You don't. Because first of all, you didn't make yourself. You didn't create yourself. So therefore, you got to learn how you've been created. And you got to learn, know the one that created you, so that, you can get everything that you need to be fulfilled in this life that somebody else created you to live in. How can you live in a life that you didn't create for yourself? But you feel like, you can do it all by yourself? Doesn't make any sense to me. There's no way I'm going to buy a Toyota and then I'm going to take it to Chevrolet and ask them, well, why is this part here? Like, why would you do that? They'll say, well, you need to take it back to the manufacturer, because we got our own manufacturing company over here. They got their own manufacturing company over there. So you need to take it back to the manufacturer, because I can't do much for you. I can, recommend something, because, we build similar product, but it's not the same. All cars are different. That's why we have different brand cars, because they're built differently. And so I said that to say that you got to take it back to the manufacturer. Which is God. He created you from the beginning, and he's going to help you get through to the end. So if you're trying to get around that, there's no way around it. And that's why we're sitting here on this set now, because we want you to know that God has not put you here to figure things out. He has not put you here to see how you're going to handle it. He didn't put you here to test you, but he put you here to fulfill the life that he gave you that will give him glory. That will give him glory. And if you're not fulfilling that life that he's given you, it bothers him. It really bothers him. And he wants you to get to a place where you yield yourself to him. Because you know that you have been fearfully and wonderfully made by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
Well, he already said that he came to give us life and life more abundantly. He came so that we could excel. He came so that we could flourish. He came so that we could blossom and we can bloom. He came so that these things could be fulfilled, but not in ourselves, but through him. Because in it being fulfilled through him, the one that created us, we project the creator. And as we project the creator, we're glorifying God, who in turn is him being glorified is bringing good to us. Mm-hmm. Because he is delighted in what is taking place in our life, because we recognize where we came from. Mm-hmm. We recognize who we came from, and we acknowledge that it is he that has made us and not we ourselves. That comes from the word. Mm-hmm. The word tells us that we didn't make ourselves. We didn't form ourselves. We didn't blow breath into ourselves. We didn't do any of that. We didn't call ourselves very good. God did. And when he did that, he put us in a place to say, okay, I have instilled in you what you need in order to make it. But in order to be able to keep going, to keep walking, you gotta talk with me. You gotta be in relationship with me, because being in relationship with God is like me being in relationship with my husband. If something is wrong throughout the day and I don't say anything to him, he'll never know what the situation is in order to be able to help me. He would never know what that is. He be knowing stuff, but if you're not connected, you'll sit silently and things will be going on. And the thing is that God knows what's going on. He's just waiting for you to come to him. He needs the invitation. God is not just going to put himself on you to say, oh, I'm going to do this for you, because he needs the invitation to know that he is welcome to help you to fulfill what it is that you need to fulfill in your life. And God wants to bring us to a fulfillment in him, but we can't come to a fulfillment in God if we're not willing to empty ourselves of everything that we've accumulated that we placed on ourselves. Because we place a lot of things on ourselves, and we blame it on the enemy, or we blame it on someone else. But the truth of the matter is that nothing affects you unless you invite it. Nothing affects you unless you invite it. When you give the invitation to anger, when you give the invitation to anxiety, when you give the invitation to stress and all these different things, you allow these things to come in, even though there may have been things that happened to cause the emotion, but you sitting in the emotion and letting it drive, that is your choice. That is your choice. You may not have been aware, or you may not have been in control of what may have happened to you or what have been said to you. But the part that you can control is the emotion of it. Because some people get into emotion and into things that happen to them, and they immediately go on this downward spiral. Oh, how could that happen to me? Oh, I can't believe this. Oh, I'm less than nothing. Oh, I can't, and they get to this place to where they start digging their own 6-foot hole. Hmm. You start putting yourself into a grave. You start putting yourself there, and God is like, I'm right here. I'm right here. Mm-hmm. Just tell me what's going on. Let me help you. Ask the question. Say what needs to be said. If you feel angry, tell me that you're angry. What are you angry about? You feel depressed? Tell me what you're depressed about, because that's all that God requires from us. He desires for us to come to him and tell him what is going on. Because in turn, he's going to be like a father is to a child, and he's going to come to your aid. We're going to come to your rescue for it.
So we are running out of time here, but we see that Regine has put a whole half a book on in the comments. So let's see if we can dig through what she's saying. Now, if you have not noticed, I did put a link in the comment section. Now, I want you to go and watch that video. Hopefully I put the right link, but I don't really usually recommend other ministries, anything. I'm not recommending. I'm not signing on this ministry, but the message that this pastor preached, and I'm not going to say his name, but the message that he preached, I believe, is very profound, and I really like the way he put it. And there's a lot of times you can think of something, but you don't know how to put it into words. He put it into words. So I want y'all to go and watch that link once we get off the live today. But Ray Jean said, so if you're angry, if your anger is down and the next day you're not angry, but you still feel irritated by it, and you're not a person who ever lashes out, so nobody was unknowingly or knowingly burnt by your fire, how would you carefully dispose of it, even after a situation has been spoken, had, so to speak, with or without chaos, but you within remain peaceful, but still bothered by it, but you never lashed out or disrespected the other person during the whole process? So this will open up the door of why God gave us this emotion of anger, because there's a reason why God does everything he does, and that's why he told us how to handle it or how to deal with it. So in this instance, getting angry is always triggered. Like you were just saying, it's triggered by something. Something is taking place. So it's triggered by someone misusing you, or if you're Chris Rock being slapped in the face, all these things are going to trigger this emotion in you. But the great thing about it is how you approach it or how you respond to it. And like I said in our last talk, how Chris Rock responded to it, I think has took his name beyond what it was already. And some people, may not look at it that way. And some people may look at, well, Will should have slapped him. And all. So it's like, that's why I want you to go watch that link, and you'll get a good perspective, a God perspective off of that event, since that's the talk of social media and everywhere. But you can feel that anger, and you're going to feel angry. And I'm telling you, I've been there, done that, and you feel that anger, of being disrespected or being talked to any kind of way, being a black man in America, always, it seems to always trigger people to treat you a different way, or to approach you in a disrespectful way. Like, honestly, I don't even have to say anything. All I got to do is walk. All I got to do is go and do what I'm doing. And it's this level of stereotypical approach that people give you when you are just, being yourself and going about your day. But that's something, you can't control, because that's somebody else emotion, that's someone else feeling, and you can't control that. I'm too busy working on myself. I heard somebody say I spend 6 months minding my business and 6 months leaving other people's business alone, because God wants us to focus on ourselves and work on ourselves so that we can be the answer to somebody else. But we're trying to be the answer to somebody else, and we haven't even allowed God to work on us. God's not trying to make you better than anyone else. He's trying to make you better than yourself. And that's the challenge that we all face, that, it's time for us to start being better than we were yesterday, or better than we were last year. So I think I answered what she was saying, but, dealing with that, I think God honors that. God will help you deal with that, especially if you take it to him. God, I'm upset right now. I'm angry. Gosh, I need you to do something about this. And he will, because of the way you approached it and the way you responded to it. Now, if you respond to it and retaliate, there's nothing God can do, because you've already done it. You basically already done it. You've handled a situation where you felt you needed to handle it, and there's nothing else that needs to be done, because I've been in that situation many times. And in an instant, I'm telling you, in an instant, it's like that person turned around. Why did they turn around so quick? Because I allow God to use that motion of anger to not retaliate or lash back, but to respond in either correction or either in just walking away for that moment, but being able to come back and give, that to give that. She said, you didn't answer the question. Well, I need you to, maybe Keona can answer your question, because for what I got out of it, that's what I explained.
How would you carefully dispose of it? So here's
what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Okay, she needs something else. Okay, we'll give you something else.
So she said, I need something else. So here's the thing. When we talk about carefully disposing of it, of anger, I've had to walk through this. So I understand about the disposal of anger, especially when you something happens, you can't really, not that you can't say anything, you can say anything, but you choose not to say anything in order to keep peace. But then you have to try to walk through get out of that moment. And in a sense, you got to kind of swallow how you feel, swallow that anger. You got to kind of swallow it, and you got to respectfully respond to be peaceful in a situation. So how do you dispose of it? You dispose of it by going to God and telling God, hey, just like we said before, this is what just happened. I need your help because I know that this is going to happen again if I don't pass this test. Because anytime you get in a situation that causes anything that seems like a friction to you, just know that that's a test. That's a test, because God is trying to bring you out of it. So that anger is going to continually be jabbed at. I'm not going to necessarily say that it's God jabbing at it, but the enemy knows that it's a weakness. So the enemy is going to continue to jab at it, but God's going to use it to test you to see if you are listening, or if you're really allowing him the same, like we talked about the invitation. Did you really give him the invitation to say, okay, God, I need for you to help me handle this? Because see, God will help you to handle things. He will help you to handle them. His word says that he always provides a way of escape. Mm-hmm. He always provides a way of escape. When we get in situations, even when it deals with our emotions, God will create a way of escape. And usually when it comes to emotions and you're in a place to where you're caught in the emotion of a thing, the way of escape usually is God. Just instantly. I've had to do it. It's in the situation, just stop talking, and I just be like, okay, God, you got to handle this. You got to handle this. Because I remember being on the other side of the tracks of God and living on my own, thinking that I was doing everything by myself, and things would happen, and I would turn to, because I used to I hung with all my homeboys and stuff like that. I would turn to them and be like, y'all better handle this, because if I got to handle it, it's about to get out of control. So God literally did the same thing, because it's not just God that's going to fight for you. God sends his angels to stand in defense for you, to be able to help you to manage these things. So all you got to do is tell God that you need the help. And in the midst of him helping you to control the emotion, he's pulling the emotion back, but he's projecting self-control. So that's what you have to rely on, is the self-control to know that you're going to have to. This is how you dispose of it. This is how you dispose of it. I'm not going to say it's easy, because it can be kind of difficult.
What she's trying to dispose of?
The anger.
So the anger, so from what we've been talking about, disposing of the emotion is you can't dispose of it. It's not going to go anywhere, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's basically, it's there for a reason, to drive you. So you don't want to get rid of it. Like, honestly, it's crazy to say, but I don't want to not get angry.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't want to not get angry, because it'll lead me to help someone else in a situation.
So that's why I said that it's that he pulls back the anger, but he projects the self-control.
Okay.
He teaches you how to have self-control in the midst of the anger still being present. The anger, like you said, the anger, it's not going to go anywhere, but the self-control is what has to be projected.
She said you answered it. Okay. So I know we talked. We only had two emotions to talk about today, but I knew this emotion of anger was going to take a good amount of time, and I think we've covered it pretty well as it relates to anger and that emotion of anger that we've all experienced. That you will experience it. You can plan on experiencing it, but as Keona said, allow it to lead you to what?
Well, wait. You said lead you to what? Self-control?
Yeah, self-control.
Oh,
so allow anger to lead you into self-control, and that would benefit you, and it would benefit the person that you are in an altercation with, or in a situation with. So let's get ourselves better, and let's allow our understanding, for one, to help us to grow. Because once you know, you can grow. And we perish because we lack knowledge. You know, we don't perish instantly, but we are perishing. And because we're not getting the knowledge that we need. God has given us everything that we need, and that's why we have the scriptures. So we can gain knowledge. And also we have people that he has called to help us to gain knowledge of how we can walk out this life. So we didn't plan on, we actually said we're going to come on for 30 minutes because we have some things that we have to finish. But we're still here. And if you have any other questions, we can answer your questions for you. As I said before, watch that link. It is, you may have to fast forward it through to the end. Well, at least an hour. Maybe it's an hour before the end. I'm not sure. But go and watch that, and I believe it'll be enlightening. Okay. Be enlightening to you as it relates to that situation. So like that situation with Will Smith and Chris Rock, it was a lesson to a lot of people, or it was enlightening to a lot of people because the way Chris Rock had responded. It was in some people's book, it was irate, it was unmanly, how he responded, but I think the total opposite, because it took more for him to respond the way he did than not. So I believe and I commend him for how he responded. And so if you don't understand that or understand where I'm coming from, watch that link that I put in the comments. If you don't have any other questions or comments, remember you can contact us through a phone. You can text us anytime you have any questions or anything, or if you need some help, 505-796-TALK. If you need somebody to talk to, or if you feel, burden, and if we can't help you, we always refer you to somebody that can help you and that can connect with you, and just to get you through the situation, because we all get in these situations and we all need extra help. So thank you for joining us today on this Tuesday talk that we have dedicated to a great woman, our spiritual mother and mentor that is gone to be with the Lord. And we are hoping to be in celebration of her life with her family and her friends and all the other people's lives that she and her husband have touched. I'm actually anticipating a great celebration, because I know how she has blessed our life, and I know we're not the only ones that she has touched, and so we look forward to being a part of that celebration of life. So just keep your eyes on our page to know if you want to be a part of that celebration. we'll have that posted on our page and all our social media outlets that we're connected with. So thank you again for joining us tonight.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much.
We'll see y'all next Tuesday on Tuesday Talk.